People are willing to work for the inducements or rewards they receive from working. An employment exchange occurs when there is a balance between the inducements offered by the organization and the contributions made by the employees. The inducements include all of the rewards that individuals obtain from work, including both financial compensation and non-financial rewards. Financial compensation includes pay, financial incentives, and benefits, while non-financial rewards include characteristics associated with the job content and the job environment. These non-financial rewards are an important element in employee motivation and are often more important in motivating employees than financial incentives. Compensation administration is a strategic human resource function that has a significant impact on other human resource functions. When pay decisions are made, several different objectives have to be considered simultaneously. For example, legally, an employee only needs to be paid minimum wage, but in doing so, you may not be paying the individual equitably for the work they are producing for the company. This may cause current employees to leave the company and may prevent others from applying to begin with. In addition to practical considerations about what is legal and motivating, there are ethical considerations about what is just and fair. Some of these ethical issues, such as fairness of executive salaries and whether hourly employees are paid a proper wage, have been debated for many years. Other issues, such as the comparable worth controversy and mandatory health benefits, are more recent. The development of a sound wage and salary system for most organizations requires three basic decisions. Each decision answers a critical question regarding an organization's compensation program: the wage level decision, the wage structure decision, and the individual wage decision. The wage level decision concerns the issue of pay adequacy. How much does one company pay relative to other companies with similar jobs? A sound wage level policy is expected to achieve three objectives: to attract the best talent, to ensure employee satisfaction, and to avoid costly turnover. A company's wage level is most directly influenced by the policies and preferences of management, the size of the organization, whether or not there is a union, and whether or not the company has the ability to pay. The major tool for making wage level decisions is the compensation survey. The three main types of compensation surveys are those conducted by government agencies, specifically the Bureau of Labor Statistics, those conducted by professional organizations, and those conducted by individual companies. These surveys collect information about the compensation and benefits of other employees in similar industries or in the same geographical region. Employers need to be aware of certain considerations that should be looked at when gathering compensation survey data. For example, when was the data collected? Compensation information from 5 years ago may not be relevant unless it can be aged to make it current. In addition, comparing job titles may not take into consideration the actual responsibilities of each job, as well as the length of service of the individual in the job, or the qualifications that each individual presents. When it comes to benchmarking a compensation system, data gathered from wage surveys compared to the job descriptions of the organization's positions will help ensure that proper pay is designated to the applicable positions. Determining how much each job should be paid relative to other jobs in the organizations is called the wage structure decision. How much each job should be paid relative to other jobs in the organization should be based on the job demands, not on how well the job holder performs. The wage structure must allow for individual variances based on performance, experience, and seniority. The major objectives of the wage structure decision is to provide equal pay for jobs of equal worth and an acceptable set of pay differentials for jobs of unequal worth. The purpose of job evaluation is to eliminate pay inequities and create a wage structure that identifies appropriate pay ranges for different jobs. The relative worth of each job is established by identifying factors that define worth and by comparing the requirements of each job with these factors. The basic types of job evaluation methods are job ranking, classification, point method, and factor comparison. Ranking and classification are considered non-quantitative methods because they do not produce a precise numerical score for each of the jobs being evaluated. The factor comparison and point methods are quantitative methods that evaluate the content of jobs on a factor-by-factor basis and produce a precise numerical score for each job. Ranking requires the company to rank all jobs based on their overall worth to the organization. The main advantage of the ranking method is that it is the simplest of all the methods and requires little time or paperwork. The disadvantages are that the differentials between the ranks are assumed to be equal when they usually are not. Also, evaluating each job as a whole is not conducive to a careful analysis and cannot provide an accurate measurement of worth. And it is difficult to use in organizations with large numbers of jobs. The classification or grading method requires predetermined grades or job classes that can be difficult to develop and require extensive knowledge about the dimensions of the jobs and the relative worth of the dimensions. The job grades range from high to low, and each grade has a verbal description and examples of the kinds of jobs that fit into it. Once developed, each job description is compared with the descriptions for the grades. The GS system originally developed by the federal government is the best known illustration of a classification system. The advantages of a classification system are that it standardizes the wages for similar jobs and maintains pay differentials between jobs within an extremely large organization. The disadvantage of a classification system is its stability makes it unresponsive to such factors as regional wage differences and labor market variances. The point method consists of analyzing the content of jobs from the written job descriptions, and then allocating points for specific factors. The number of points assigned to each job determines a range of pay for that job. There are 6 steps that need to be followed in order to develop the point method. Once this has been established, the point method is not very difficult to administer, and the decisions derived from it are defensible. One of the important steps to the point method is weighting the factors according to their contribution to the overall worth of the job. The weights assigned to the factors will reflect the values of management and society. The most heavily weighted factors tend to be responsibility, knowledge, education, experience, complexity of duties, and supervisory responsibilities. The factor comparison method is similar to the point method, but slightly more complex. Instead of points, compensable factors are assigned monetary amounts that, when added up, determine the wage of the job. Here, a set of compensable factors are identified as determining the worth of jobs and are skill, effort, responsibility, and working conditions. The Hay Guide Chart Profile Method is a job evaluation system that is basically a factor comparison system, although it is also very similar to the point method since it uses points. This method uses 3 compensable factors: know-how, problem solving, and accountability. Because the compensable factors of the Hay method are defined so broadly and generally, the system can be used for many different industries and many different jobs.